on that, and he took a few hits, but Stoney always got up and took them on head first again. Here we go, we'll send them away with the first TQ race of the evening, and they're going to go 3 wide down through the CJ Phillips Construction Town Bend. It's the V Energy Drinks number 11 being driven by Liam McCoubrey. He leads away. We go back then to the 8 car of Jeremy Webb. Just goes out a bit wide. He's shuffled back into 4th spot, while 2nd is held down right now by Luke Dilworth in the 77 car. He's running wheel to wheel with one of the grand old men of Christchurch TQ Racing, Mike Moulin. It's Moulin in the Access Man car. That's the orange machine, and he's in 2nd. Dilworth in 3rd. Webb in 4th. Then we go back to the 12 car of Kimberly Yateman in 5th, and then it's the 16 of Kyle Glover. Of course, next weekend it's the South Island TQ Championship, so for a lot of these drivers it's very much a warm-up and a bit of a look at what they're going to be contending with next week as the journey goes on. McCoubrey is extending that lead. We've got
over, AJ, 1 over.
Yeah, we've got a Tommy tip over down the far end there.
Well, it wasn't a very Tommy tip over either. It looked like he landed pretty hard to me. Just trying to pick up the number. It might be 84 Ben Morgan. I don't see him circulating. I think it might be the 84 car of Ben Morgan.
Of course, Ben was, where was he running? A little bit further back in the field. Yeah. Tyler Warnock retires to the infield as well.
Yeah, Ben Morgan was basically running 2 from the rear at the time, so obviously had a bit of an altercation with the fence up there. So it is Liam McCoubrey that leads them round, the V-sponsored car. We don't want to lose too many, of course, before the feature.
No, we don't. One thing about TQ Racing, Nisbo, is that it's always cut and thrust stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we'll just go through some of these sponsors too for the big Ryan Stone tribute feature. And of course the field will be led around by Ryan Stone's original TQ, the 17 machine, which is usually driven by his dad, of course, who was also a great TQ racer here in his day, Jeff Stone, the Rolling Stone.
The Rolling Stone.
Yeah, the Rolling Stone.
He looks better than any of them, I've got to say.
He does, actually, yeah, no, he's looking very, very good. But some of these people that have put the money where their mouth is for the sponsorship of a particular lap, and Glen Jury Engine Reconditioners has sponsored lap 1. Mike Malin, that's the Cover It company, and they're sponsoring lap 2. Mags Nicholson, that's Wayne Nicholson, of course. You always see him hanging around down in the web bits and does a lot of work with them. He sponsored lap 3. Spends a lot of time on the beach going by his Facebook pages. Lap 4 RB Customs, that's Ricky Brett, of course. And lap 5 Mags Nicholson again contracting, so he's sponsoring a couple of laps there, might be even more further down. We'll go through a few more later on. That Independent Beer Systems we were talking about, he's sponsoring lap 14. And lap 17, of course, well, the sponsors there are the Stone family themselves. So very, very good stuff, and congratulations to all these people. And just remember, please, to go and support the sports that support the sport, all our sponsors, and say that we sent you.
Well, just see Ben Morgan being towed off there. Got a bit of a wry smile across his face. Bit of front end damage there, so a few bars and bits and pieces. But he was at least smiling. Tyler Warnock thought he had trouble with the front of the car, but it was actually a right rear that's flat that I didn't spot looking at the front. So that's why Tyler's pulled on to the infield.
Right, the yellow's still out. One would like to think that we go green very, very shortly. The cone has come in. So we've lost Morgan, we've lost Warnock, a couple of the young guns of the TQ class this season.
Here's a call out to the owner of a car, registration number JW532. Could you please go back to your vehicle? That's the owner of registration JW532. Please go back to your vehicle as soon as possible.
But here we go, starter's got the green flag poised. We're going to go green. Battle station's about to resume. Here we go. Back with heat number 1 of the TQs. Just 2 laps in the books. Liam McCoubry picking up where he left off. That titanic battle going on there for second, third and fourth between Dilworth, Moulin and Webb. Moulin holds the inside running. Webb pulls the K&T drainage number 8 into second spot. Moulin back into third. Oh, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks on the mill down in Town Bend.
Yes, it was 12 Kimberly Yateman got a bit out of shape there as she came to the turn. She was tapped by, I think, 36 Gareth Nixon's there, 82, one of the Thompson boys, James Thompson, and I think the other one's the 15 of Sean Shilton has come to grief in that spin.
Well, I guess that's a byproduct. They do only have 10 lap heat races, so it's a matter of really getting on the hammer. The guys out front, they're going to take some pegging back. Cream is very quickly rising on to the top of heat number 1 for the TQs.
Well, AJ, it's a long way from the front to the back of the field under Indian file restart, so you can't blame them for pushing it.
Yeah, exactly. The 36 car of Nixon, they're having a quick look over of that. There's as the TQs continue circulating. I wonder how many of them prepared Nisbo for doing 10 laps or 10 laps racing and 10 laps yellow or 15 laps yellow.
It's always something you've got to think about, and that's a lot of trouble. They've happened in the past in feature races. That of course that's when the power is really on, and I know of a couple that have run out of fuel with a fair old chance of winning as well. But that's the way it goes. You really got to allow. Of course, it's a weight thing. They're trying to get the weight as light as possible, but you don't want to go too light to the fact that you just don't have enough fuel on board. This event brought to you by Avon City Ford. You'll find them at the Sockburn roundabout and also out on Rangiora for new and used cars, parts and services, and check out the new right-hand drive Mustang. You had a test drive yet?
No, I haven't, Nisbo. No, sorry. Do they do gold card prices? Not for me, mate.
Well, the casualty out of that one was 15 Sean Shilton, 36 Gareth Nixon and 82 James Thompson. Get a restart, just going back into their positions.
Radio time marching on, so the yellow flag still flying. Heat number 1 for the TQs. McCoubry, Webb and Moulin. 3 of the best. They'll be looking forward to next weekend's South Island TQ Championship.
You got Kyle Glover sitting in behind them, AJ, another hard charger, former South Island champion. Luke Dilworth from Nelson was down at Dallasmere the other weekend, and he had a very good run in the final race out there. And then an old hand that's come back this year, 89 Gareth Bindon, so the first 6, there's a bit of talent there.
Oh, there sure is. Now we've got problems with the 21 car. Tim Yellowlees. Oh dear. Right. Normal service will be resumed as soon as possible. Getting the Yellowlees car onto the, is it onto the infield or is this a restart? No, he's going to the infield. Right.
I noticed those 2 Greymouth cars have got up through the field pretty quickly. They're currently running 7th and 8th. So yeah, they're certainly putting on a good show.
They are. Green flag is poised as well. Here we go, take 3 or take 4 for the TQs, heat number 1. This is going to be a ding-dong battle. The head of the field, the 11 car of McCoubry, he leads away. Then we go back to Webb, Moulin and Glover. They're the first 4. The 77 car, Luke Dilworth from Nelson, hanging tenaciously onto the that front bunch there. Gareth Bindon running pretty good there in the 89 car. He's up and among the top half dozen. as McCoubry and Webb just get a little bit of a break. Nice run up the inside of the 63 car by Kyle Glover. The Glover's on the prowl there. Kyle Glover, he's up into third spot. Lap starting to count down. That was a howler of a pass up the inside of Michael Moulin. So it's still Liam McCoubry with Jeremy Webb. They've got a good break on the rest of the field. Kyle Glover just starting to reel them in slightly. It'll be 3 laps to go next time around for our race leader, Liam McCoubry. He must have tipped some of the sponsors' products down into the fuel tank tonight, because that thing has certainly got plenty of get up and go.
Yes, well, look, McCoubry and Webb, great mates and great racers. They have a battle everywhere they go. McCoubry just leading by about a car length over Webb as they head down that back straight. Kyle Glover still holds that third position from Luke Dilworth from Nelson. As they come round now, they pick up the white flag. On their way home, McCoubry still leading them. Just still got that car length advantage. Here's a bit of a move from Webb. He picks some drive up out of that turn into the stadium cars. Prism bend for the last time. 11, Liam McCoubry is going to take the first heat of the TQs from 8. Jeremy Webb, 16, Kyle Glover's the next one home. Mike Moulin just gets in ahead of Luke Dilworth from Gareth Bindon. Then we go back to James Thompson on the inside. He came in ahead of, what's that, 28 to be his brother, I think. The other, Rodney. So other front runners in that first TQ event.
And we'll go for the commentary on this one very, very shortly. This one brought to you by A1 Electricians, and they provide guaranteed electrical services from stove installs, housing and commercial fit-outs. Give them a buzz so you don't get one.
Okay, we'll just go down to Warwick for a quick update on weather and track conditions down there. Warwick, still pretty warm.
Yes, very pleasant day, Jay. The wind probably has just dropped a little tad from our last report, but it is still a lovely warm evening. The track crew will still have to do plenty of work, of course, trying to keep some moisture in that surface. But these TQs should have a good run on it. It's looking pretty good. A wee bit of a cush just starting to build up on one of the turns, but nothing too serious at this stage.
Here we go, green flag about to fly. Heat number 2 for the TQs. Let's send them away. And it's Dylan Stone Cuthbert in the 9 car who led them down into turns 1 and 2. Having a good old battle there with the West Coaster Rodney Thompson in the 28 car. And Gareth Bindon right in the thick of it already. Bindon up there into 3rd spot. James Thompson in 4th. And Montana Jameson in 5th in the pink car. But the visitors getting right into it at the head of the field. With Stone Cuthbert, he's just been shuffled back into 2nd position right now. With Rodney Thompson. Now remember, Thompson last year put in an outstanding drive in last year's Stone race. Gareth Bindon, he wasn't going to sit back there for too long, and Bindon has worked his way through from grid number 7. He sits there in 2nd spot and poised to leap. Look further back, and a lot of the big boys just struggling to make any sort of headway. So the 16 car of Glover, he's made big inroads, currently running in 5th position right now. But it's all visitor at the head of the field. Car number 28, Rodney Thompson. Gareth Bindon in 2nd, the 82 of James Thompson 3rd, Kyle Glover in 4th, and then in 5th it's Dylan Stone Cuthbert. Those front 5 or 6 cars, just a wee bit of a break on the others. The traffic They're battling away further in the field. They're going 4 wide down the front chute. Now we watch them slice and dice the 2 access man cars being driven by Gareth Nixon. That's the 36 and the 63 of Mike Moulin. They're having a very, very heated battle there for possession a bit further back. Montana Jameson, she could get caught up in that one as they slice and dice their way through. Boy, she's the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Club going on further back in the field. Liam McCoubry, he's another one that's starting to make some inroads. We're going to go yellow. We've got one around. It's Scott Cossey in the 34. Something had to give, because further back in the field, they were right into it. They're 4 wide down the front straight. And Nisbo, some of those moves in the traffic, boy, they're really after this one.
You take a dive and grit your teeth and just go for it, because some of those holes are pretty narrow. But boy, you got to take your chance.
It's like the parting of the water, especially as we watch Nixon and Moulin working their way through the traffic. It's a great battle, and they're right back there in like 10th and 11th spot.
Yes, well, it was the Liam McCoubray boys that was making the holes for them just ahead, and they were following, but they weren't going one by one. They were 2 wide, and shunting each other around and finding as many gaps as they could. And you can still see the access man cars right in behind young McCoubray. Montana Jameson got shuffled back a little bit there. She says in behind Mike Moulin.
Yeah, so Liam McCoubry started from grid number 19. He's currently running in 9th spot. Less than a handful of laps to go. Heat number 2. Tonight's big TQ tribute in the memory of the late Ryan Stone. Let's send them away again. Is Bindon able to dig deep and find anything for him? Well, the first move is being made by Kyle Glover in the 16. Glover up into second. Right hard on the tail of the 28. Car being driven by Rodney Thompson, but Bindon, he comes back for another lash at it. Bindon back into second, Glover in third, and fourth it's James Thompson. Rodney Thompson, he led them down the back straight, but it looks like Bindon and Glover have both got him going through the prison bend. Well, all friendships are being thrown out the window tonight. Gareth Bindon, what a belter of a drive from him. Just one more lap to go, down the back straight. Into the prison bend, it's Gareth Bindon leading the way, the checkered flag about to fly, and the 2 access man cars get together with the 36. Oh dear me. Well, the team boss may not be particularly rapt about that one, but Moulin and Nixon got together as they went down there, and it was the gentlest of moves, rather subtle rather, but Gareth Bindon does take the checkered flag. Kyle Glover in second, Rodney Thompson in third, James Thompson fourth, Tyler Warnock put the disappointment of heat number 1 behind him into 5th, and Daniel Jenkins in the 24 car 6th.
Right in front of the access men, Corporate Bot.
B main, quarter midget final, modified sprints, midget feature, sprint car feature, and rounding out the program will be the modified sprint feature. Remember the curfew here at Rupuna, 10 p.m.
Oh, we're going along all right. We just need all the sprint cars to stay on the track and don't go into the middle or up the wall or anything else like that. I can pick now that Bruce France is out the front there in that 17 car saying, "Can I floor it?"
Well, I remember when Jeff Stone got him behind it one year, and they just about had to throw a bucket of water over him to get him off the track. He just wanted to keep going. Boy, what a picture. Big thanks to the Warren's family as well for continuing their tradition of supporting the Ryan Stone TQ tribute. That front row, Montana Jameson, Kimberly Yateman. Row number 2, Charles Gardner, Brett Booth. It was, we've got Boothie onto the infield, the 72 car already out. Leader of each lap gets $100. So for some of those starting near the front of the field, this could be one heck of a payday for them. If you come through from the back of the field very quickly, well, it's an even bigger paycheck for them. In fact, it would be close to what they're paying out for the New Zealand TQ Championship.
Yeah, well, yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
Yeah. Here we go, the pace, TQ driven by Bruce France, retires to the infield, that front row, Montana Jameson, Kimberly Yateman, Charles Gardner on his lonesome in the second row. Let's get ready to go for 17 laps. We've gone green, and it's the dirt flirt. Kimberly Yateman that's going to lead them down through the CJ Phillips Construction Town Bend. Montana Jameson in second spot. Then we go back to the 24 car of Daniel Jenkins. Remember that $100 for the leader of each lap. And Kimberly Yateman, she's got an Ed Hillary heading her way. One lap in the books. Jenkins, he's in third right, is just about to make a big move on Montana Jameson. She regathered her thoughts, and Montana, she's running that bottom part of the racetrack to perfection. So Kimberly Yateman, 200 big ones in the back pocket. She has led 2 from 17. Oh, here we go. Tyler Warnock was running the inside of the track, got spat out of there like a bit of popcorn. So the 17-lap journey for the TQs. They run down the front straight, and it's we're going to change at the front of the field. Daniel Jenkins in the 24 car. He takes the lead. Kimberly Yateman, she's sitting there in second. Charles Gardner in third. Montana Jameson in fourth. Let's go looking back. Some of the heavy hitters are starting to come into contention. The first of which is Liam McCoubrey, who goes across the line in sixth position. McCoubrey running the high line while almost everyone else is running down by the pole. Keep your eyes out on the access man, number 36, being driven by Gareth Nixon. McCoubrey still winding up the rubber band as Daniel Jenkins gets another lap in the books as the leader for the Ryan Stone TQ Tribute. Charles Gardner in second. Here comes Gareth Bindon. He muscles his way up into the third. It's Liam McCoubrey. He's in fourth. Persisting with that top up. We got one round. That's going to bring out the yellow. Yeah, Kimberly Yateman went round. Well, she's going to go home a couple of $100 better off.
I think she was probably already spending it. Took her mind off the job just there. Liam McCoubrey picking that line. He is going to be hard to peg back. Nobody else has really tapped into that yet with the TQs.
No, they haven't. He's almost running a sprint car line. You'll notice as he comes off turn 2, the CJ Phillips Construction Town Bend. He's right up by the concrete wall. In fact, just sort of gives it a little bit of a kiss. And boy, he has come through from grid number 15. Currently running in 5th, 5 laps in the books, 12 to go in the Stony.
And Jeremy Webb up in 9th, so he took a while to get off the back. It was a couple of laps down before he started to make his moves, but certainly going to do it now.
Kyle Glover was
still 12 to go, anything can happen.
Yes, Kyle Glover was making a move there too, Andy. He was running a bit wider and clicking off a few cars. So Kimberly's going to head back to where she thinks she was, so she, may have got a tap round.
Well, that she may well have. Don't know. They're not running for sheep stations, they're running for a nice little pot of gold, though. Those outstanding sponsors that Nisbo's been going through the list tonight, all great supporters of speedway racing and of TQ racing, but it's great testament also in the memory of Ryan Stone. He'd be looking down on this. He'd be loving every minute of watching the guys the big boys having to run through the field.
Of course, AJ Ryan Stone was pretty instrumental in getting the quarter midgets underway as well. Let's not forget that. Ryan and Jeff were mentors for those early ones and put a lot of work into that class as well.
Yeah, here's my pick. Kimberly's going to pull up and remonstrate with the officials. The time that she went around, she actually doesn't. She was sitting in second spot. Of course, the clerk of the course are not the ones that make the decisions. It all comes from upstairs. As the clock ticks by, Daniel Jenkins, still the man leading the way in the 24 car. Charles Gardner, this guy's had some up and down luck. Had a big crash out at Ellesmere a couple of meetings ago. Montana Jameson, one of the rising stars of TQ racing, and then of course we've got the 89 of Gareth Bindon, one of the stalwarts of the TQ class.
Yes, that's what the issue is. AJ Kimberley was claiming she was pushed around, so I'm not sure whether you can find out what the decision is up there. I suppose we'll soon see where she joins the field.
Yep, all eyes. We'll just keep a look as to where they restart her. Up, back seat of the bus. Okay. That should well mean that the yellow light's going to be extinguished. Here's a good opportunity for the access man battle to continue between Michael Moulin and Gareth Nixon. That was outstanding, their battle earlier on in the night. Okay, let's do the concertina down the back straight. It's got everything, but anyway, the green flag should just about be thrown, and it is. Here we go. 12 laps to go. Jenkins leading the way. Montana Jameson. She's the first that makes it look as though she may go topside. Kyle Glover. Where'd he come from? He's up into 5th position. So it's Glover down low, making the track work from down there. Whereas running with Angels fair to tread, we've got the 11 car of Liam McCoubrey. Maybe McCoubrey's had enough of trying that high line. He's come down low now. He's back there in 5th spot right now. But it's still Daniel Jenkins leading the way. Gareth Bindon in 2nd. Charles Gardner running the wheels off the 94 car in that 3rd spot. As we've got the 8 car of Jeremy Webb retiring into the infield. So there's one of the big boys gone. 7 laps down, 10 to go. It's still Daniel Jenkins leading the way. Gareth Bindon behind him. All fire and brimstone up on the high line, but it's just not reaping any rewards for the 11 car of Liam McCoubrey yet. Kyle Glover, he's the first of the really, really big names that's starting to make an impression on it. But Daniel Jenkins, well, he is clocking up one heck of a payday tonight at $100 a lap. He's led 6 of them. So it's Jenkins, Bindon, Gardner, Glover and McCoubrey.
Well, Jenkins will take some pulling back up there, because when he gets his nose in front, he's pretty hard to get around. There goes McCoubrey again, trying to go up that high line, but it's a bit rough on here. As much ground as he gains, he loses it out there. A bit better down this Phillips Construction bend. But Jenkins still leading. Now it's Bindon. He's putting the pressure on Jenkins as they come through the stadium cars Prison Bend. Wee bit of rub up there as they go through, but it's still Jenkins from Bindon. Kyle Glover sitting there in that 3rd spot. There's McCoubrey. He's got in underneath Gardner. So Gardner goes back to 5th. I think it's James Thompson in that 6th position. But it's Jenkins. He comes round, keeping count, AJ. He's clicked another one off. Bindon's still looking on the inside. He has a wee poke now. Gets halfway up, but just can't make it stick at the moment.
Yeah, Liam McCoubrey still persisting with that high line down the top end of the track, but down Prison Bend he comes down low. They're bumper to bumper through the Prison Bend. Daniel Jenkins in the BP to go. Westport car still leading the way. 4 laps to go. Glover's into 2nd spot. McCoubrey into 3rd as Gareth Bindon retires to the infield. It's going to be battle stations with 3 laps to go in the Ryan Stone tribute. Oh, we've got one up and over.
James Thompson, I think it was, just did all that himself. He got out of shape over there and just, that was a Tommy Tippy.
It was a Tommy Tippy. It's underway. Oh, you got to love it. Well, it's just about got everything, this one. They'll form up. Now, one thing that, one wee story we forgot to tell you earlier about Bruce France is that he actually gave Ryan Stone his first race in a TQ, and it was out at Ellesmere, and Ryan was about 13. And Bruce said, oh, you can come out and have a race in my car for the day, and Bruce never turned up, so Ryan drove it for the whole day. Oh, I was probably there. Maybe we saw the beginning of the star's career. Oh, wow.
Well, it's going to be on this time because Jenkins has got the lead, but they all close up. Glover in behind, McCoubrey in behind Glover. Charles Gardner just done particularly well. He still stayed at the front of the field. James Dilworth from Nelson sitting in that, Luke Dilworth from Nelson in that 5th position. Then the 9 car, Dylan Stone Cuthbert from Nelson sitting there as well. just ahead of Tyler Warnock and Montana Jameson, ex-quarter midget drivers too, and James Thompson.
Okay, here we go. Just 4 laps to go. And here we go. It's Glover down low. But Jenkins has stolen the march on him. McCoubrey still trying that whole line. Well, if nothing else, he's spectacular. Not quite getting those rewards that he deserves. But Daniel Jenkins still clicking them away. Kyle Glover in that second position. In third, it's Liam McCoubrey. Fourth is the 94 of Charles Gardner. He's had a whale of a race in that machine. 3 laps, 2 laps to go this time round. It's still Daniel Jenkins. Is fate going to rob him of one of TQ Racing's most sought after trophies? He gets a little sideways on. Here come the big boys. The Wolves are on the prowl. Glover, he's the first one that's going to take a lash at him. White flag lap. Daniel Jenkins. Here goes McCoubrey. He makes the charge out the inside. Are we going to have a Jenkins sandwich? Glover, he's probably the man that doesn't want to be on the outside of this one. Him and McCoubrey run wheel to wheel. Here goes Glover, the last ditch run round through the prison bend. The dash for the line. Jenkins is going to take it. What a win for him. Second place will go to Liam McCoubrey. Kyle Glover third. In fourth, it's Charles Gardner. Great drive by Gardner. Fifth, Dylan Stone Cuthbert. Luke Diddleworth in the 17 car from Nelson was sixth. Seventh was Tyler Warnock. And that was a ripper of a race in memory of the late Ryan Stone. And it was another one of those races very befitting